You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Out of Bounds. You can catch every weekday afternoon from 1 to 4 on 103.7 The Buzz and 103.7thebuzz.com. Can you believe this? Like, have you pinched yourself yet to make sure that you're not dreaming? Like, I woke up this morning on a Monday after traveling down to Arlington to witness the end of a losing streak against the Texas A&M Aggies on Saturday. I woke up this morning wondering if maybe I had just had a crazy dream, or maybe I am just exaggerating this in my mind and imagining this in my mind, and it's so vivid that Arkansas has started the season 4-0 for the first time since 2003. 1-0 in SEC play for the first time since 2010. Number 8 in the country. A top 10 team for the first time in a decade. This isn't a dream. This is actually happening. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to think. And the main reason behind that is because it's been so quick. Now, there is a lot of season left. You have 8 games left this year. You got 7 SEC games left this year. You have arguably the best team in the country on the schedule this Saturday at their place, which we'll talk about a little more here in just a second. But you just went and ended that losing streak to Texas A&M. You had a lead, and you never relinquished it. You won 20-10. Honestly, could have been a lot more. But again, we'll talk about the game breakdowns here in a second. But the fact of the matter is, you are legit. You are a legit football team. And you are a football team that teams are now afraid to play. This isn't just hype. This isn't just hope. This isn't just, things that you're reading through your Razorback red colored glasses. This is legitimate. When people start voting you, non-biased voters start voting you into the top 10. Some of the AP voters even put you in the top 5. When you start getting that type of love 4 games into the season, it's not a joke. It's not just false hope. It's real. It's legitimate. The Razorback football team is here, and they are here to stay. They have won every game by multiple possessions so far this year. They own the state of Texas. Like, it's so hard to comprehend and thinking about how did this happen so quickly, so perfectly. Like, the excitement for Razorback football is about at an all-time high. And for so long, you were told, hey, you're Arkansas. Know your role. Stand back there in the back of the SEC West. Let the big boys handle the SEC. Let us play the football stuff. You go over there with your cute little track championships and all that. We'll handle the big stuff. You were told that, you don't belong in the SEC. Here's why Arkansas should leave the SEC and go to the Big 12. Here's why it would be in their best interest to leave this conference. Because in football, with Texas and Oklahoma coming in especially, there's not going to be any room for Arkansas to succeed in football. Bite me. This is what I love about this team and about this point in time, and now it's happening this way more than anything. It's because it's not about, you getting lucky. It's not about you playing some overhyped teams that got a lot of love preseason and you're looking better than what you are. It's not about that. What it's about is that you and the Razorback football program showing that you can win at a high level here in Arkansas. It doesn't matter about, being Bama or being LSU or, being little old Arkansas. What matters is coaching. What matters is support. What matters is a game plan. What matters is a culture. Those are the things that matter. Where you're at, who you are, does not. This is what matters. On the football field, this is what matters. And Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks have shown that you can win here when you have the right people in place, when you have the right leadership in place. You can win. Guys, they are doing this with, at least right now, 2, maybe 3 bona fide NFL players on the roster? Maybe? A lot of your 2 of your linebackers in Hayden Henry and Grant Morgan, which are having phenomenal years, started as walk-ons. I mean, you got Hudson Clark as a walk-on or former walk-on being out there covering passes and first-team defense in the SEC. You're doing this in ways that shouldn't be done, and it's making people lose their minds. Texas and A&M fans, they're sitting there and they're like, nah, well, this just had to be horrible performances by us. This can't be. Arkansas, losing to them? Nah, it just had to be a fluke. I mean, they don't have any talent. They don't have any NFL players. We got to the NFL players. It had to just to be a bad game. Had to be a bad game. People don't know what to do. You're completely bucking the trend. You got teams like Clemson losing bad games. Oklahoma looking like crap. Ohio State losing games. These teams that have been known for being awesome are not awesome now. You know who is? You, Arkansas. But why? They don't have the talent. They don't have the NFL guys. How is this happening? It's because of Sam Pittman. It's because of Sam Pittman and his coaching staff and the culture and the leadership and the game plan that they have put together and they are executing. They are not doing anything that is just unbelievable. There's nothing about them that are just you're looking a little shady. Their recruiting's gonna, they're pulling an Ole Miss where they're going to start getting 5 stars. There's nothing like that. It's just good old-fashioned, next level, tough man football. At the end of the day, you got a team that believes in themselves, believes in what they're doing, and a coaching staff that knows how to get things done. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing right now. Enjoy this ride. I don't know if Arkansas is going to beat Georgia this weekend. Probably not. But enjoy this ride. Keep it going. Let's not stop. Let's see how far we can go. And let's see how far we can take this. We're going to talk more about the Arkansas A&M game specifically here in just a second. But college football fanatics, which I know you all are, have you heard of Prize Picks? It's the daily fantasy made easy. I love this, and I know you will love it too. It's the leader in college daily sports fantasy, and it offers more college football props than anyone in the world and offers the star player from the Power 5 as well as the mid-majors that you may not have even heard of. And all of you that decide to use Prize Picks, be sure to use the promo code LOCKEDON for 100% deposit match up to $100. It has mixed sport entries. You can use the award-winning app on the App Store or Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is also safe and offers fast withdrawals. So don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com and use promo code LOCKEDON you can go to your app store and download the app today. It's Prize Picks, the daily fantasy made easy.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily Arkansas Razorbacks podcast.
All right, we'll continue on talking about Arkansas and A&M here in just a second. But first, I got to tell you about Sweat Block. It's doctor-created, doctor-recommended, and works up to 7 days per use. It's the bestseller on Amazon for the past 10 years with over 13,000 reviews, and it is currently #1 in Amazon antiperspirant category. Listen, we all have that bad thing where we hate sweating and we hate having it show through our shirts, especially when we're out at games and in game day and tailgating and all that. You don't want to be that guy that, oh, let's all take a picture together. Let's make sure that guy's on the outside of the edge because he's disgustingly sweaty. You don't want that. This is something that I feel like we all have dealt with this as guys. And I know this sounds too good to be true, but Sweat Block is the thing to use because you use it once or twice a week, and it keeps me dry the whole time. You don't have to worry about pitting out. It's no more picking shirts on what will hide sweat better or anything like that. So if you or someone you know is dealing with this, you have to check out Sweatblock. Get it today for 20% off at sweatblock.com using promo code LOCKEDON or on Amazon and CVS. So let's look at the box score and some of the things that really stood out to me about the Arkansas victory over A&M, 20-10 down in Arlington, finally ending that streak, that losing streak. So KJ Jefferson was phenomenal. He got hurt in this game, and we'll know more about it hopefully today as far as the extent of that injury. But he was 7 of 15 for 212 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Of course, the main pass and the main thing that happened that everyone was just woo about is that very first touchdown by Arkansas, an 85-yard bomb to Traylon Burks. Just a beautiful, beautiful throw, beautifully executed play. And, I mean, it's just, I love Traylon Burks. Here's the thing about Traylon Burks real quick. Is he going to end up with the most stats at Arkansas? No, he's not going to end up with the most receiving yards or touchdowns or anything like that. At least I don't think so. If he does, it's great. But it's just be really hard for him to do because of that freshman year where Chad Morris didn't know what to do with him. But anyways, like Traylon Burks, talent-wise, is the best wide receiver ever to play at Arkansas, period. He's the most talented wide receiver to ever play at Arkansas. He's got it all. He's got speed. He's got strength. He's got the hands. He's got the vertical. He's got the athleticism. He's got just a wonderful understanding of the game of football. Dude's the best. So let's just get at that out of the way now. But KJ Jefferson goes into this game, does really well, but he gets hurt. Malik Hornsby comes in, very limited on passing, but still you can see why they're so high on him and his speed. He is incredibly fast, and he weathered the storm. There was a couple of bad plays here and there, but they weathered the storm. They got it done, and they were able to make it work. So, and honestly, Malik Hornsby had a pass that was into the end zone. Should have been caught for a touchdown, but it wasn't. Blake Kern, man. I love Blake Kern, but he had a terrible game. False start penalty, dropping passes, just did not look good. Didn't know to be on the field goal unit and had to call timeout. Like, stuff like that was just bad. So he had an awful game. But at the end of the day, all that mattered is that Arkansas did what they needed to do to win. And it was funny because Arkansas scored 3 points in the second half, which I was wrong about. I said in my guarantees, I was like, Arkansas will outscore A&M in the second half. Well, they didn't. Like, find me another time where Arkansas only scores. If I would have told you before the game Arkansas would only score 3 points in the second half, you'd probably say, okay, well, Arkansas loses. Like, I would have said the same thing too. But Arkansas just, they did what they needed to do. Traylon Smith gets 17 carries for 82 yards. Traylon Burks, 6 catches for 167 yards. Bumper Pool led the way with tackles, 8 tackles for him. Hayden Henry with 7. Monteric Brown, of course, with 6. Added that into the mix as well. And he also had a pick, one of the biggest picks you'll see. I still don't know if that was an actual interception or not, but I'll take it all day long. I ain't too worried about it. So, big-time performance by Arkansas. Like I said, the stat sheet isn't exactly filled up, but it certainly looked like something that, something that you can build upon and improve upon and see how it goes this upcoming game against Georgia. And I will say this, like, Zach Calzada is an awful quarterback. He's not good. A&M's quarterback, I know he's the backup. He wasn't supposed to be the starter this year, but that dude's just not good. He goes 20 of 36 for 151 yards with 1 interception. He has a QBR of 29.9. He's just not good. And we knew going into this game that if Arkansas was able to get pressure on him, that would cause him to have problems, and it did in this game. So there was just no answer for him. Isaiah Spiller goes 12 carries for 95 yards. And the only play that he really had was the 1 touchdown that A&M got, 67-yard touchdown. So if you take away that 67-yard touchdown, he has 11 carries for what? What is that? I'm trying to do the math in my head. I know this is dangerous, but for 28 yards, 11 carries for 28 yards. But this dude comes out after the game and is like, oh, they didn't stop us. Arkansas didn't stop us. We just didn't play well. Dude, you guys got stopped, all right? If you would have taken away that one play, you ended up with under 200 yards offense. You got stopped. Arkansas stopped you. You didn't have an answer for it. Yeah, one big break, one big play, and after that, nothing. So I don't want to hear that stuff. That's just sour grapes is all that is. That's just a sore loser. But anyways, Arkansas just went into this and they executed their game plan. Defensively is what's going to keep them in these games. We'll know more about Traylon Burks, and I think he's going to be healthy and going to be fine. We'll know more about KJ Jefferson and all that this week. But they did what they needed to do to make the plays to win. And it was so you could tell that they had a great game plan, especially the way they started off the game. Like, they had some crazy formations, some trick plays that actually worked. They were opening up holes. The offensive line was really getting after it. I mean, it was flawless as far as the game plan itself. And 20-10, again, I think it could have been a lot more if KJ doesn't get hurt. I think that Arkansas could have, especially if they would have executed like on that 4th and short play that they didn't get and whatnot, like it could have been a lot worse. You'll take the W all day long, but it just could have been a lot worse. You'll take this performance all day long. And we'll talk about the experience down in Arlington here on the other side break in just a second. But first, got to tell you about Built Bar. And for right now, limited time, they have cookie dough chunk. They sent me some of these. They are the best ones. Like, I love cookie dough, and they taste just like cookie dough. And so you can't go wrong with them. You have to try these out. They have other flavors as well, some other great flavors. But try out the cookie dough because, let's be honest, anytime you can have something that tastes as good as that and have 17 grams of protein with only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar, you're going to be all about it. That's what I do. It makes it easy. Snacks, breakfast, on the go, whatever it is, Built Bar's for you. So go to BuiltBar.com, use promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your first order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily Arkansas Razorbacks podcast.
All right, final segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I was down in Arlington, and I got to give a shout-out to the Razorback fans that showed up in droves. There was a lot more Razorback fans there than A&M fans. I feel like it's almost cheating because it's like A&M has all these cadets or whatever that they bring in. There's like 1,000 of them, and they take up so much space that it always looks like A&M has a ton of fans there, which, I mean, they did. They did have a good showing, don't get me wrong, but they like that takes up so much. Like, Arkansas doesn't have that. Arkansas just has, because the thing is, those cadets probably got in for free for all I know. So, like, Arkansas fans showed up. There was more Arkansas fans there, and the energy that they brought in the game, very seldom there were people sitting down. It was wild. It was fun. It was crazy. It was packed. It was exciting. So kudos to all you Razorback fans that made the trip down there. And there's just a lot of funny things that happened and some observations that I had from what was going on. Like, for instance, A&M, I know we talked about how weird they are and stuff, but like A&M, anytime their dog, the mascot, got put on the big screen or the yell leader, the place went nuts. Like, when Jerry Jones got put on the TV, we all went crazy because we love Jerry. Or when Dave Van Horn was on the screen, we went nuts for that too. But they like went apey for what was going on with the yell leader and the dog. So I was like, okay. And I hadn't actually sat next to A&M fans. They were nice. And I asked them, I'm like, so why do you guys go crazy for that guy? And he's like, oh, he's the yell leader. It's like, well, yeah, but is he like famous? Oh, no. He's just our yell leader. Okay. Whatever. Kudos to you. Also, there was a funny video that was, or something that was put up on the big screen where there was an A&M couple. And it was like in the beginning of the game, like the first quarter. And the guy was sitting there kind of just, hanging out, not really doing anything. Well, his wife or his girlfriend or whoever was next to him, she was asleep in the first quarter. Like, she was full on asleep. And I'm like, man, maybe something crazy happened. Maybe you were just going wild there in the early game and just, couldn't hang for the rest of the thing. I don't know. But wow, I was not expecting to see someone already asleep there in the first quarter. But hey, that's just me. So that was really funny to see. And the halftime show I laughed at because, Arkansas did their halftime show and then A&M did their halftime show. And, I'm not sitting here and saying Arkansas's the band's the best ever, but I watched the A&M band and they're going nuts too. And I'm like, and everyone talks about like how great their band is and they're marching and like a lot of people are like filming it. And like the A&M guys, like when we went to go get drinks and everything, they were like saying, hey, you're going to miss the best part of the game. It's like, I bet not. But, they started like doing these formations and these rectangles and just like doing all that. And I was like, I mean, I guess it's cool. I listen, I don't know much about marching bands, but I guess it was cool. I don't know. They just made rectangles, and I just didn't understand why it was such a big deal. And because, I like the bands that, like that Ohio State band, when they do stuff like crazy, like making Michael Jackson moonwalk, or doing stuff like Super Mario Brothers and all that fun stuff. Like, I like that. Or like, the bands that have great drum lines and, get really into it and dancing around all excited and all that. Like, that's the bands I care about. You marching in a rectangle is, they ain't doing nothing for me. So, like I said, maybe I'm a little more cynical about everything, but I just thought that was kind of weird. But again, kudos to the Razorback fans that showed out. Texas Live after the game, which is that big area with a lot of different bars and stuff right next to Arlington. Razorback fans flooded that place. It was a party over there. So much fun. High fives all around. Woo pig. Saw a kid dive into the fountain that's outside of Jerry World and swim across. Good for him. I mean, it was just, you can't wipe the smile off Razorback fans' face right now. And here's a fun fact, and we'll end it on this. In the year of 2021, in the year of our Lord of 2021, your Razorback basketball, baseball, and now football team have all been ranked in the top 10. Think about that. The three major sports, your three teams, this year have been ranked in the top 10. Think about that one. Appreciate everybody listening into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at BuzzJohnNabors for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily Arkansas Razorbacks podcast.